Welcome to Paw Print Academy, your blueprint to raising better dogs. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your host for this journey. I've got my trusty co-host here, Brianna.
Hello.
And together we're bringing you real-world training insights built on leadership, structure, and proven methods. We record this podcast with live clients on the line in one take with live, unscripted questions and answers. At the end of the day, this podcast is a lot more than just teaching your dog to sit or stay. It's about building trust, creating calmness, and becoming the kind of leader your dog truly needs. We do that with our 3-pillar method of trust, obey, and perform. Together, we'll show you how these 3 pillars shape every step of training. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. Hey, it's episode 27, Crate Anxiety, Fixing Whining, and Panic in the Kennel. Welcome.
Hello.
All right, we're going to jump right into it. We are going to probably cruise through this, but we'll see. The concept tonight is a big focus on preemptive actions, proactivity. Mm-hmm. Because this is a problem. Crate anxiety. Huge problem. Lots of people deal with it. Very few things that you can do at the end of the day. A lot of things that you can do up front. A lot of small things that you can build towards to try to fix the problem. But the biggest thing is going to be time.
Yeah, for sure.
And no one wants to hear that.
Yeah.
And so to a certain degree, this whole episode could be summed up by saying, don't do a certain amount of points that we'll talk about to create it. And then if you have it, you just have to reverse it.
Yeah. By
building in a lot of time and a lot of patience into the dog learning that it's okay. Mm-hmm. And that's it. All right. Thank you for your attention. Have a great night.
That's all of it.
Yeah, that is it. So let's break it down. In general, crate anxiety is not solved by just making the kennel more comfortable. Mm-hmm. It's not solved by just giving them a bone. Yep. It's not solved by drugging your dog. Mm-hmm. It's solved by building clarity, structure, and calmness, as well as independence, so that the dog learns that the crate is a place to settle, not a place to fight. And I say this a lot in lessons, you have to let the dog stand on their own 4 paws. Yeah.
That's definitely a big one. And I think it's a huge misconception that a lot of dog owners have is their dog they're always like, oh, my dog hates the kennel. My dog hates the kennel. My dog hates the kennel.
Right. And so reality, they don't do it.
Right.
Or they don't put him in there because he hates it, so I hate it for him.
But in reality, it's not that the dog hates the kennel. The dog hates that they have no other option than to relax because they don't know how to relax.
Right. Everyone has certain things that they would rather do. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that they're scared or anxious. So anxious, we use the word anxious a lot, but true anxiety at the clinical level is something far and away from the dog's a little, I guess, upset that they have to be in the kennel instead of the couch.
Yeah, for sure.
And when we go and we talk to an owner, we teach someone how to build neutrality in a crate so that your dog will go into the crate. Inevitably, we ask or are asked the question of, well, when are they going to love the crate? Mm-hmm. Maybe never.
Yeah, maybe.
Because love is a strong word. They learn to love the couch because you love the couch. They learn to love the bed because you love the bed. They pattern that, and then they're like, yeah, it is pretty nice up here. It's higher up off the floor. It's pretty soft. I enjoy it. I like it. They don't, if, let's turn this around. If they were to see you spend all of your time in a crate, they'd probably learn to love it.
Right.
Because you're their best friend. You're their leader. You're their all these things. You're the provider. You bring the food.
Yeah.
You pay the electricity bills. You keep the internet on so they can watch SpongeBob during the day or whatever it is that they do. And if you were to pattern a different set of furniture, they would like that too.
Right. And it's also not strictly about the furniture, right? It's being away from you.
Right.
Most of the time.
Right. And where you spend your time,
Yeah.
where you value spending your time. They want to value that as well. So obviously we're not going to make everything of the same value because you don't spend that time there. So that's not that's not the point. That's not what we're trying to do. All we're trying to do is make it neutral. We just want to make it not a bad place. We just want to make it not a place of fear or, being scared and having an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
So if we teach a dog that they can actually relax themselves, we give them the tools to deal with this. And if we do that early on in their life by showing them that it's a neutral place and by showing them that they didn't die, right? Not dying is a strong, concept, but nothing hurt them.
Yeah.
They didn't get hurt. They didn't get injured. Nothing bad happened. Oh, cool. That wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
And then they move on. We have to pattern that. We got to use that over and over and over and over.
Right. It also builds confidence in your dog to show them that they can do hard things, right? Humans are always made to do hard things and make progress and grow and all these things, but we sometimes lack that expectation in our dogs.
Yeah. So most crate issues are not about the crate. They're more about the dog's inability to self-regulate, like Brianna said. And so when they're separated from their handler, from their owner, they immediately respond in a way that they've responded before. That's classical conditioning in action. It's not something that the dog always has control over, but that doesn't mean it's bad for the dog either. We have to work through it.
Yeah.
Whining, barking, and panic behaviors often are reinforced over time because the dog learns that the noise that they make creates or gains your attention. Pretty much across the board, everyone that we've ever talked to that doesn't crate their dog for a definitive reason, like, well, I've tried it and they hate it.
Yeah.
It immediately, you can tell by the owner's body language, the owner also hates it because of what they went through while trying to teach them how to go into their crate.
Yeah.
Because the dog made it painful enough and horrible enough that owner was like, no more.
Yep.
Let's come on out of there.
Right. And that's exactly
that-
the moment that the dog
Yes.
is like, I won. I have a tally mark.
Right. And whether the dog's truly competing or not, it is the same concept that the dog just figured out that it worked. And they're like, got it. Well, that does it.
Right.
It's the same thing if you scream for help and someone comes running. It's a real quick, you're like, cool. Well, that worked. The learning occurs whether we like it or not, sometimes accidentally.
Right.
So we have to really, really be careful when we're first starting.
Yeah.
If you have a puppy and you're learning and you're setting it up and getting it crate trained and learning how to do this. You have to fight through those small squabbles up front because they're only going to get worse.
Right. And if you give in one time, it's going to get worse the very next time. They'll either get louder or they're going to do it faster at the time, or both.
Yeah. So dogs that lack structure outside the crate are typically going to struggle also more inside the crate because there's no foundation. There's nothing, there's no like standard of calm behavior for them to fall back on that they realize works. And so you end up with more of it and more anxiety. We have to give the dogs the opportunity to learn that they can calm themselves down. And that's where the crate comes into play, because it's like time in the crate teaches them to be neutral to time in the crate.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, well, the chicken and the egg. Well, how do I get them to be calm in the crate? This is the part of the podcast where I was like, this is super fast. You just do it.
Yeah.
Now, you can have these random one-off issues where a dog's like, no, I am getting out of here. And they will do everything they can to break out of there. Typically, and I'm going to cover it right now rather than in the second section here, but typically if you have a highly anxious dog and you're listening to this podcast, you're like, oh yeah, that all fits my dog. I'm going to encourage you to get a high quality crate right off the bat.
Yeah.
Don't skimp on a couple of bucks and then end up spending just as much, if not more, by taking them to the vet because they hurt themselves trying to break out of that little wire crate that you got on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
I am a huge fan in saving money. That is not the concept here. The issue is that I inevitably get the phone calls when something goes really badly and a dog breaks out of a crate, chews through or breaks the little wires, squeezes out of them, punctures themselves several times, bleeds all over, and gets out. And now the owner is horrified when they come home. There's blood on the floor. Their dog is mostly fine, but super not interested in going back in the crate. The crate is destroyed. They're taking him to the vet. They're super spun up and oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And now they're like, now I need professional help.
Yeah.
Now, some of that stuff could have been avoided, and I know not everyone is in a financial position to throw a whole bunch of money at a nice crate. There are some pretty, don't quote me on this that's not as high quality as this one. Yeah, for sure. Money solves these issues in a you get what you pay for type of environment. However, I'll just tell you without giving a recommendation to one or another, what we use. I am a huge fan of Ruffland Kennels. I don't have any affiliation with them. They pay me no money. I just like them. I like them because they're one-piece molded plastic and they're pretty easy to transport around. They fit in the back of like an SUV. There are little custom fans that can bolt to the outside of them. They're pretty easy to clean, and they do great when you have a whole bunch of them and you're tossing them around.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can toss that sucker across the room, like after you've cleaned them all and you're bringing them inside and you're just throwing them inside into the garage and they're tumbling around and they're great.
Yeah.
I couldn't probably do that with a big metal crate.
Right.
However, I've used impact crates. They're very, very high end. Love them. I have been very impressed with their product. I have a Rock Creek crate that is a collapsible metal kennel. All of those I've used. I have found through recommending them to different clients that they they've had a much better time with those because of the way that they're made. They don't have any purchase points on the inside where the dog can kind of get a good grip on something. And that's how they initially start gnawing away or grabbing or, creating leverage where they can eventually try to bust on out of there. Almost across the board, I'm just calling it out as I see it. I won't we're not mentioning any brands of wire crates, but in general, every bad or horrific crate incident that I have ever had experience with was always a wire kennel or wire crate.
Right. I mean, I don't think we can name any brands of wire crates anyways. They're just wire kennels.
Yeah, right. It's like whatever the company is that sells it is usually the big box store.
Yeah.
It's like their brand.
Yep.
Anyway, that's my just professional opinion on crates and crate anxiety. If you have a crate anxious dog, the number one thing that you can do right off the bat is save up the money and buy something that's safer for your dog, so that at least you can check one thing off of the peace of mind list and feel better about the situation you're in.
Right, because it'll lessen your anxiety in the long run.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing is going to make you quit trying to work through this more than coming back and having an injured dog. All right. Inconsistent release timing. This is super important because it creates more whining over time. Inconsistent release just means, well, sometimes you release them when they whined, and sometimes you release them after they were quiet for 5 seconds, and sometimes you release them after they were quiet for an hour.
Yep. The
issue with that is that it's unpredictable, and sometimes you can incorrectly or accidentally teach the dog, or at least reinforce to the dog, that they're being released because they whined. Now you're not doing that on purpose, but that could be the message that the dog gets.
Yep.
So in the third section, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite strategies for what I call capturing a release time. And that will be a strong solution to that. But to highlight the issue, if you're not consistent about the trigger for why the dog gets out, the dog will pick up on the differences and they will be opportunistic.
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as a dog whines, and it's like a lot of times we look at, like, we're not just waiting for the dog to be quiet and still be anxious in there, but be like panting and pacing around. You're really looking for a calmness in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. So let's talk about some like comfort-based solutions, because this is usually the solution that I see people do because they either looked it up on Google or they chat GPT'd it and it was like, oh, cool, make it more relaxing for them. So comfort-based solutions are like adding blankets or toys or just reassuring the dog. This can work, but it doesn't work for a truly anxious dog. It can work for like a dog that's at a phase, earlier, where they're like, I don't really like it in here.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, it's okay. They're like, oh, okay. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about actual crate anxiety. You're not going to calm them down no matter what you put in there.
Right. As soon as the dog like whines or something, they're like on Amazon and they're like, I'm going to find some things. I'm going to find some soft, cuddly
make
things.
it nicer for him because he's sad.
Yeah.
But that's us putting our emotions on the dog. He's not sad.
Right.
It's more than that.
Yeah.
He has not learned to regulate his own emotions. So sure, there's probably some sadness in there, but then there's also like 20 other emotions that are flowing through.
Right. And they just don't understand what they're supposed to be doing, but trying to give them comfort is not going to give them the answer.
Right. Yeah. And all of this is done out of the goodness of your heart.
Yeah.
You want the best for your dog, for sure. No version of this that I'm saying that anyone's messing this up like on purpose.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not a solution that usually works.
Yeah.
So, toys, constant reassurance, it doesn't give any clear expectations related to the behavior. It just is like, here's another thing.
Right. It usually gives them something to destroy in the long run.
Something for them to be anxious with.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? And so think about it this way. If you never force someone to think through a problem, they'll never build the muscle and the solution and the skills to work through that problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the same thing as a dog. They're not going to learn to calm themselves down by themselves.
Right.
No one's going to teach them that.
Yeah.
So you have to.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you do that is through crate and place
Yeah.
as the top two. There's other things. Leave it. That's a great one.
Mm-hmm.
But all three of those things build on each other. The crate is the easiest and most basic one because it's confinement.
Yeah.
Place, you have to work on emotional regulation and decision making at the same time, including you holding the dog accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Your accountability is automatically held in a crate because they're in a crate.
Right. So yeah, don't put your dog on place and expect to just like check out from your dog to start off with, unless you're doing a tethered place, which is also a good recommendation for very beginning, like early stages of just teaching calmness.
And then that way the tether becomes the accountability on that piece.
Yep.
So letting a dog out while they're still whining is going to teach them that the panic works. If they get more panicked, and then you come out of wherever you're at and you show up and you save the day by letting them out. This is one of the fastest ways to build long-term crate problems. Absolutely one of the fastest ways.
Yeah.
Ignoring the problem without a plan can also fail, though, because if the dog is not learning what to do instead of whining, you're going to be very unsuccessful, because you can say, no, don't bark. No, don't whine. No, don't. But what do you want them to do instead? This trips a lot of people up, because I end up asking people and I get the craziest looks. Well, what do you want the dog to do instead of barking?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be like, well, I want him to be quiet. I'm like, right, I got it. How are you doing that? How did you teach him to be quiet? Did you ever teach him to be quiet? Well, no, that's what I want him to do. Right, I got it. But did you teach him that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the concept is that you have to teach your dog what you want them to do.
Yeah.
So maybe you want them to lay down. And when you have them lay down, that does not include barking.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can say, no, don't bark, in parentheses, no, down.
Yeah.
Because down was not taught with a bark. So down means lay down, be quiet.
Yeah.
Now you have something that you can tell the dog what you want them to do. That is the most ethical way to do dog training, and the most successful way to do dog training is tell the dog what you want to do. Mm-hmm. That's important.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Let me look at my notes. How do you balance ignoring noise versus actively teaching the calm behavior? That's a good one. Okay.
Right. Because I think I touched on this earlier, but it's not waiting for the dog to stop making noise and like rustling around. It's like I almost wait until the point where like the dog is like totally relaxed, like ready to like doze off relaxed, before I would say that the dog is actually calm. Because calm to different people may look like different things. But if a dog is panting and pacing and not settling down, then just because they're not whining or barking anymore doesn't mean that they're necessarily calm.
Right. Okay, we're going to jump into the third part here. Here's where we're going to throw a whole bunch of solutions at you. And to preface this, it's super important to remember that dog training is not one size fits all. Some of these things might work. Some of these things might not work.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the crazy part of dog training is you're training a live, living, breathing, feeling thing.
Yeah.
Everything's different. And the way you do it is different. And that's why one of the most frustrating things for owners is that they do something. Talk to them on the phone, tell them what to do. They do it. It doesn't work. I show up. I do it. It works. And they're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that comes from there's all these tiny little variables.
Yeah.
How you do it, how you say it, the intonation in your voice when you say it, the firmness in your voice when you say it, your energy, your timing, all of those things come into play.
Yeah, dogs care about all those things.
They do. They're very, very intuitive in those things. So don't get frustrated. Keep the emotion out of it and just work through it.
Yeah.
All right. So start by creating value for calm behavior. Number one. If you don't establish value for the calm behavior, the dog will only see value in the crazy behavior. That's what seems to get you up to come and let him out.
Mm-hmm.
The crazy behavior is what gets you to yell at him. No, stop it. Don't bark. His crazy behavior equals you doing something about it.
Right. And I think it doesn't always necessarily like start only in the crate either. It's like if you're only expecting your dog to be calm when they're in the crate, but you're not also reinforcing that sometimes outside of the crate, then why would they go into it being calm only in that situation?
That's fair. Yeah. So let me get back on track. That's super accurate, right? We have to be consistent, not just in the crate, but also in all the other things that we do. Calmness is something that is learned through all of the different training that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And a dog cannot settle in the home. A dog that cannot settle in the home, right? They're not just going to suddenly settle in confinement when they're at the most stress.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to know what you're expecting out of the dog.
Yeah.
So we have to start creating value in that calm behavior outside the crate. We have to establish value in the calm behavior in the backyard and calm behavior in the living room and the bedroom and the every room.
Yep.
Then it transfers. Because you've already taught the dog a pattern. All right, next, use clear markers and timing. You need to mark for good behavior while they're in the crate. There's nothing saying you can't treat your dog while they're in the crate.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they get quiet and you mark it, they quiet down, you count to 3, and then you go, yes, and you walk over there and you give them a treat.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or whatever your continuation marker is that you want them to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So that is a great opportunity to reward the behavior that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Then quiet can start to become a command. Then you can name it.
Yeah.
Once you've taught it by rewarding it, you've shown the dog that I'm doing something that is precipitating this reward.
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing? Oh, I'm being quiet. I'm being calm. Okay, let me try that again. Oh, wow, I got another treat. And you're creating an actual command there.
Yep.
Then you can name it and you can cue it. You can put it on cue.
Mm-hmm.
Conversely, you can also put the barking on cue, and then it's even more clear.
Yeah.
You can tell your dog to bark. You can tell your dog to be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
That's best case scenario.
Yeah, we've been using relax for Dexter, and it's like his indicator of like, not only am I asking for down, but I'm asking you to like relax onto your hip, like on cue, so that I know that he's not just going to jump right back up.
Yeah. Okay. Relaxed behavior. Where am I at? We only want to release the dog when the dog is calm. This is really important.
Mm-hmm.
People misunderstand what calmness really is in dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And we go, oh, they're quiet and they're laying down. They're calm. You need to look at some other pieces of their body language.
Yeah.
If they're panting up a storm, they're not calm.
Right.
If they're licking their lips and they're fidgeting, but they're laying down, they're not calm.
Mm-hmm.
When they're laying on their side with their hip kicked over and their paws outstretched and they're just like, you could just tell a difference, right?
Yeah.
Hold on,
You can like feel the energy in a dog when they're calm versus like that like panting type behavior. You
Exactly.
can definitely like see it. You can also see it in their eyes and like their forehead and their ears. All of those things are going to give you signals of whether the dog is still kind of amped up or whether they're truly calm.
Yep, exactly. All right. Then we can progress gradually through this. We have to start with real short, little successful repetitions because that builds confidence in the dog. And if you go too long, you try to achieve endurance, and that's like Bree says this all the time, the college versus kindergarten, right?
Yeah.
You've got to start at kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
You have to start with kindergarten tasks. If you were to task a kindergartner with college level math, it's going to go poorly.
Mm-hmm.
But you forget as soon as it's a dog, it's like, well, just lay in the crate. But that's not normal for a dog to just know exactly how to calm themselves down. So you have to start simple, start slow, start easy.
Yep.
Okay. The next thing that I wanted to talk through in what are we going to do about it? This is called capturing. And I could probably talk about this and the concept for a long time. I'm going to try to stay on track. Capturing is what we use when your dog barks because they hear you coming, right? So let's say that your dog is in the crate and they have been in the crate for a very long time and you're in the other room and you're like, oh wow, they're finally relaxed. So you go to get up and you go to open the door and they hear you in the other room because dog's got great hearing and they start barking because they hear you coming.
Yeah.
And it ramps them up. Well, now what do? You have to go sit down again, right?
Yeah.
And you have to let them calm down because if you walk out there right as they barked, it reinforces that the barking is what makes you appear.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh gosh. And you do this like 3 or 4 times. You're like, this is a never ending loop. They're never going to come out. I have to let them out. I got to let them out to go potty. I got to go. I got to leave. I got to do other things. I have life to do. All right. Here's a solution. We start to pattern a new obvious cue that precipitates why you showed up. And so that's what this looks like. It's called capturing. We're going to, this is similar. The reason it's called capturing is it's actually a medical term for like capturing a heart rate with electrical activity, like in an EKG or ECG or whatever. Synchronized cardioversion. There you go.
Science.
Hold on. Where's my science? Where's my science music?
Oh.
There it is. Synchronized cardioversion. So the concept is that we want to start using an alarm or a timer.
Yep.
Something that's the same. Use the same one every time. And before you go into the other room, you set off the timer. And then you show up.
Yep.
Now, you can do this 2 ways. You can legitimately set a timer. You're like, cool, in 30 minutes, I'm going to go in there. Cool, awesome. So set a timer for 30 minutes, and then barking or not, the timer goes off, and then you walk in.
Yeah.
So now, the next time that you do this, you do the exact same thing. You set a timer. When the timer goes off, you go in. Now you need to make this very consistent and very close to the same amount of time between when the timer goes off and you show up.
Yeah.
So you make it consistent in the dog's mind too. Now where you go with this is you can start setting that timer longer and longer and not reacting or adjusting anything that you do in the house now to get around the dog.
Yeah.
So that means by the time you're up to, let's just say that you started at 5 minutes and then you added 2 more minutes to that and then 2 minutes to that and you doubled that. By the time you get to 20 or 30 minutes of them being in the crate, they're going to be looking for when is that timer going off.
Yeah.
Now, when the timer goes off, you have to show up every single time
Yep.
to let them out because the timer is now predicting when they're going to get out. Once you work all the way up to an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, usually my goal is always 3 hours.
Yeah.
By the time I can get them to stay in the crate and to work through 3 hours and then the timer goes off, and I do that very slowly, just a few minutes at a time. Now you fully captured their attention on the timer. Now what happens is you can just use that timer with a 5-second timer when you're ready to get up.
Yep.
So you're in the other room and you're like, all right, I'm going to go let them out. And you go 5 seconds, boom, let it go. Timer goes off, you show up. Because now the dog is not relating their barking to your appearance.
Yeah.
You fully captured the concept that the timer initiates your appearance. Once the dog sees that their barking and their behavior and their everything has nothing to do with when you show up, that pattern can start to slowly die off.
Yeah.
And now here's the bad news.
Right.
Right? That's the good news of
Yeah.
like how you can actually work through that.
Yeah.
Because there are some dogs that like they will just not quit or they
Yeah.
won't stop because they truly believe that their barking gets them what they want.
Yeah.
Now the bad news is that there's no quick fix to that. And even we've had clients that are like, look, you take my money, just figure it out.
Yeah.
Make it work. I don't want to deal with it. This is crazy. I can't deal with it. And you know what we do? We put the dog in a crate and we sit outside of the crate and we put headphones in
Yeah.
and we watch a movie.
Yep.
And
Because, yeah, it can be rough.
right. And now there are certain circumstances we're never saying that we're going to ignore a dog in, some sort of a medical emergency or something like that. That's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about a dog throwing a fit. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's keep it in perspective. But there's no shortcut. You just have to work through it
Yeah.
because it's already been learned and patterned over and over and over and over.
Right. Yeah. That's not the first step of,
Right.
yeah, that's not the step one, right? It's patterning exactly as you said first. And then you rip the Band-Aid off and it's like, okay, well, now it's time to try
Got to
it.
work backwards.
Yeah.
So that you make sure the dog is safe. You make sure that the dog has gone out. You make sure the dog is fed. You make sure the dog has all of its needs, true needs met.
Yeah.
And then it's okay for them to be loud and obnoxious for a little while. There's no way around that. They have to just see that their actions aren't working and that it's inefficient.
Yeah.
A dog does not do anything that they don't get some value out of. Not forever.
Right.
So they may do it once, they may do it twice. And then it might even get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, that's the
because
worst.
that is called an extinction burst.
Yep.
When the dog's mind or brain is like, all right, I've tried and tried and tried. I just can't seem to get out of here. I just have to put in 100% of my effort.
Yep.
I just have to give it everything I have. I haven't worked hard enough.
Yeah.
And then the real floodgates come open. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's worse now. I've done something wrong. No, that is what happens right before you get that extinction burst. That's what happens right before actual extinction.
Yeah.
And then you start making progress.
Yep.
And it's just important to just hold on to it. Hold on to it. Keep going.
Yeah. Keep pushing.
Yeah, basically. All right. I'm going to open it up for questions. If anybody has a question, now is your time. No questions. All right. No questions tonight. Listener projects. Number 1, reset the crate association. So we've got to place the dog in a crate. We'll start with very short durations. Wait for even 1 or 2 seconds of calm. And then mark with yes. Release with free. That's what we do. But you can mark with your continuation marker. Give them a good job. Attaboy, you're doing the right thing. And then release them with your release word if they're able to come out. Repeat that multiple times a day. They should be going in the crate throughout the day. Here's one that we didn't talk about. I'll just mention it quickly. If you're only putting the dog in the crate when you leave, you're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not doing it right.
Right? Because obviously they're not going to establish a positive association of that. When they go in the crate, they know you're leaving them.
Yeah, you'll never have success with that route.
You really won't. You will never accomplish what you're trying to do that way.
Yeah.
Because every time that you do that, the dog's like, got it, you're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want that. You have to put the dog in the crate when you're there.
Yeah.
Too. Not forever, just for a while.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Project number 2, eliminate accidental reinforcement. You have to crush this, because if you don't, once again, there's no hope for you.
Yeah.
Because you'll constantly accidentally reinforce the wrong thing. And every time you do that, especially once it's a learned pattern, every reinforcement counts for 3.
Mm-hmm.
Every time that you're trying to devalue that counts for 1.
Yeah.
So now it's like the 1 step forward, 3 steps back issue.
Yeah, that's the worst.
So do not release the dog while whining, barking, or scratching.
Yep.
No matter what. Unless you're using that capturing, and that's the value of the capturing concept, right? Because you technically can get around that.
Yep.
But without some sort of other trigger, marker, or cue, you can't just walk up to a crate and let a dog out that's whining and barking.
Yeah.
They will attribute that to their whining and barking. Mm-hmm. Wait for a clear moment of calm, even if it's brief. Reward that and release. Track your timing. Because this is where most owners fail.
Yeah.
And shameless plug, this is where the Paw Parent Academy app is going to come into play so heavily.
Yeah.
Logging. In the app, you are able to do quick logs in 10 seconds or less. Pull it open, tap, 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 you've got a quick log. You can go in and with 2 taps, you can repeat your last log entry.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that without logging or keeping track of your timing, you're not going to be exact. You're not going to know if you're getting better or worse. You can go into the full journal logs if you're not just doing a little quick log, and you can put in details about timing, and you can use, there are multiple different versions of the journal that are all quick access depending on what you're logging. If you're going in and doing training reps, or you're going in and doing potty training, or you're going in and doing crate and relaxation, and it will guide you through all of that. And then you know what happens? You save that, and every day, this is totally free. This isn't even a premium feature. Totally for free. Every single day, the AI model that's built into there analyzes all of your logs.
Yeah.
And gives you an exact play-by-play of where you are and where you need to go. That is not just random AI guidance that you go online, type in, how do I teach my dog to stay in a crate?
Mm-hmm.
But it actually reads your logs, reads your journal, and gives you real life accurate advice for your dog in your journey with what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
That's going to be super, super important for people.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that you get a chance to take advantage of that. But for now, we are going to call it a night. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am super excited to get the app out, hopefully this next month. We will stay tuned for the exact release date. And if you are interested in testing that stuff at all, please reach out to me. You can reach me at ryan@topdogtrainingnc.com or jump on our website, send me a contact form right from the website at topdogtrainingnc.com. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Good night.